Hi guys, today I'm going to show you a video here on the replacement of the GL2400 noisy fan on the power supply. This is one of the biggest complaints with this unit, and to prove to you that the noise has nothing to do with the actual power supply itself, minus the fan, obviously. This is just the power supply itself running without the fan. Okay, I'm running the 12 volt power supply into a mid digital multimeter so you can check what I'm doing. The reason why we have to do this first is you have to figure out first what fan are you dealing with. The fan that came out of here was a 12 volt fan and it was a piece of crap. On this desk, we have some fans here from older GPU cards, 12 volt, 0.7 watts. And that's what we're going to be replacing it with those two fans there, to one of them, whatever one's still better. Okay, now I'm going to turn on the console here. Okay, it's cold right now, and the mains are hooked up. There's no fan to let you know it's not gonna burn up. It's not gonna, unless you're gonna run it for 50 hours. It's outside, so the heat's not gonna be building up inside anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Be very careful when you're doing this. Okay, I have zip ties here holding it too, just in case if one breaks, so that it sits here very nicely for me just to work on it. Okay, here we go. Okay, now we're going to come around here. You can see the green light's on, so the power is coming through, so everything is good. Now, what we're going to go now is, since this is hooked up already, we're going to go back to the digital multimeter here and 13.54. Okay, that is the voltage that's coming out of there. Now, in order for these fans, okay, to do their job properly, a lot of people think that you run a fan at full max. Well, a lot of people say dumb things. These smaller fans make a lot of noise. Okay, a bigger fan, like in a CPU case, won't make that much noise. The bigger up you go with fans, you can actually start putting in proper ball bearings so that you can have smooth motion. With these ones, it's not that easy. They're very small. So, how do we slow down the fan? Well, there's many ways of doing that. I'm not an electronics engineer, but what from basic electronics is you use resistors to slow down or cut down current. So you're going to be burning current as heat, right? That current's going somewhere. It's going to be building off as heat and limiting the current going across the resistors. The best way of doing this is to use a little bit higher wattage resistor than the current drop wattage that you're going to be losing, going from 12 volts, or in this case 13.54, to around 8 volts. That's what our target is. Okay, so what we have here, this is an usually when I throw away old electronics, I take the components out, and they're very handy when sometimes you need them, like right now. So I have like about 1,000 pack of these 1/4 watt resistors, and this is a 56 ohm resistor. And this one here is a 110 ohm resistor. Okay, now we measured those already, so it's 110 ohms. So what we're going to do in order to solve this problem is we're going to use this little bit higher wattage resistor. And I tried this before already with the fan in between them. So I know it works. It doesn't even get warm. And I ran it for about 2 hours. It very warm to the touch, so no problems at all. And then the 56 ohm resistor is a secondary one. Now we're going from 110 and then 56. So we have about 165 ohms going across in between the red supply voltage. Very important. We're putting the tolerance side, right, gold, to the power supply coming off the power supply area, okay? And going across this way into the red of the fan here. And then the black will go to the ground, okay? So that's the secret to fixing the GPU fan, or I should say the GL2400 fan. And it took me a while to find out how you do this. I had enough of this. The fan noise it's just absolutely horrible. You can't read just sitting there with nice monitors listening to your sound, and it sounds like shit because that's all you're going to be hearing, okay? So now we're going to be showing you the setup that I have here with the console here on the table so that we can test out the fans properly. Now we're not on the floor anymore with it. And here's again, the power supply and the leads coming down into the breadboard here. And here's the fan. All right, now that we have this set up here, I've turned the soldering iron on, so I'm going to put it at 300, let's say 350. So we're going to take some flux here, flux paste, just a little bit. You don't need too much of this stuff. And what you're going to do is you're going to be rubbing it a bit, just slowly like this. Just like that, okay? And in that area there, we're going to need some there as well. All right, let's do this. So attach the leg of the resistor to the other one, and what we're going to do now is I'm going to do this without the fan so you can actually hear what I'm saying, okay? You notice where the solder is going. So what you're going to do is you're going to rub the solder on there. Okay? Perfect. That looks very, very good. And then again, we take the tip and clean it right away. Always do that right after, so that you have a nice, clean tip. Okay, now that we have the fan and everything outside now powered from the breadboard, now we can actually do a proper circuit testing of this on the breadboard itself. It's much easier than to have 100 alligator clips all over the place and then you lose track of it. Right now we have two sets. So 4 alligator clips right now, just to bring power in and then out of the breadboard into the fan. Okay, so if without further ado, this is what the circuit looks like. Right, you have power coming in through the yellow into the red, into the rail here, and then green is carrying power over to the resistor, right, the main resistor, and then the second 56 ohm resistor, and then out here is where that power is going to the fan, through again another alligator clip to the red, and the yellow is being used as the ground that goes here back into the ground. Okay, and let's turn this on. Now, what you're hearing is nothing but 0. That little noise you're hearing, the looks like chirping, that's the top of the fan. The top of the light. Sorry, I'll close it. Okay, there you go. I'm going to turn on the light again, so beware, that's the noise. Okay. So I think that we succeeded. I think that's very good. Now, another thing that you have to do to make sure that, this is operating at its best peak, you got to take a voltage check now to see. We need to find out where we're at right now in terms of voltage. So I've set this voltage here for, let's see, 20 volts, all the way up to 20 volts because it's never going to reach that far. But anyways, all right. So we're going to move this stuff out of the way now. Just keep the fan on top there. Move all this stuff out of the way. Okay, now. Show you there. What we're going to be doing is we need to test the voltage coming out of here. What is the voltage? Well, we're going to tap in here, right in that area, and then into the ground, which is this one here. So we can go ahead. Right where we should be. 7.85 volts. That's excellent. Okay? That's it. So this went from almost 13.5 to 7.8. That's exactly where we should be. The fan is not stopped. It's still going. It's still doing its proper job. It's still bringing heat out. Now, in this case, in this power supply, this fan is like a computer power supply, the PSU fan. It's blowing hot air out of the power supply. Not a GPU fan, for example, brings in cold air into the heatsink. This one is reversed. It brings it out of the power supply. So when you install this on the GR2400, make sure that it is reversed. I hope you understand that. So the fan is going to go into the power supply reversed because you have to bring air out. Okay, guys. Now, after putting this thing back together, bring it back to the table. Now,
No more noise.